All right, welcome to the September episode of the Flight Attendant Career Connection free webinar. I'm really excited that you're here joining with me either live on the Google Hangout or you may be watching the replay later on YouTube. My shirt's kind of wrinkly. Let me get situated so that doesn't bother me and bother y'all and annoy y'all the whole time. All right, I think I'm ready now. So again, welcome. I'm excited that you're here with me. We're going to talk about some things that aspiring flight attendants on their way to training, and maybe even some current flight attendants need to know. Again, this is brought to you by Flight Attendant Career Connection. I'm Abby Unger. I'm the owner and founder of Flight Attendant Career Connection. Flight Attendant Career Connection, which I've said like 35 times now, but is a company that offers coaching, encouragement, community, and resources to aspiring flight attendants. If you are not in the Facebook group yet, I would love for you to join. Guess what it's called? Flight Attendant Career Connection. We have a Facebook like page. You should like it, and then you should also join the Facebook group. Request to join, and one of the admins will let you in. You can stay as long as you're nice, and that's pretty much it as far as the Facebook group and the company goes. So you may be wondering, though, what sort of things we offer. We offer coaching, resume rewrites. We have an interview workbook, and then I also have written a book called Looking Skyward, Turn Your Flight Attendant Dreams into Reality that did make it. It is an Amazon bestseller. So if you're kind of at the beginning of your journey, that would be a great place to start. You can also find information on our website. So that's who we are. Welcome again. I'm glad that you're here. So let's get started talking about what we're going to talk about. First of all, I have some kind of news that I think is exciting because this is a book. This is not the flight attendant book I was just talking about. This is another book that I wrote, and it has been an ebook since December is when it came out, but now it's a real life physical book. Okay, so here's why. I don't know if it looks backwards to y'all because in the recording it's looking backwards. So anyways, it's called Make Money with Facebook Groups. But here's why I want to show you, because if you're a aspiring flight attendant, you probably don't care about this unless you have a side business like something that you're trying to make money with. But anyways, okay, so here's the dedication page right here, dedication page, and now I'm going to read it to you. Dedication for the members of Flight Attendant Career Connection, especially those who cheered, contributed, and believed from the beginning. Christy, Christopher, Janice, Angela, Veronica, Nanette, and Nicole. Paris First Class International, which, if you don't know, that's a quote from View from the Top. So this book right here is dedicated to everyone who's in the Facebook group and everyone who's ever been in the Facebook group, because without y'all, I wouldn't have learned the steps on how and to teach other people how they can collect an amazing community of people and introduce them to each other and let them interact with each other and help each other. And so that's why this book is dedicated to you, Flight Attendant Career Connection Facebook group. All right, so, and that's really exciting for me too, because that's my first physical book. All right, moving right along. Let's talk a little bit about current events. So if you're watching a replay, this is now September 2015. And it's the 10th. It's the 10th of September 2015. So yesterday, the CEO of United resigned, Jeff something. How do you say his last name? Got my sidekick over there.
Smeek, I think.
We think it's Smeek. I keep calling him like Smoodle, which I know that's not his name, so that's why I wanted to ask. But Jeff, the CEO of, it sounds like we like know each other, the CEO of United stepped down yesterday. So some people have been asking like, oh my gosh, is United in trouble? And they're not. Nothing has stopped. The planes are still on order. They haven't cut back on flights. They're still hiring. They're still doing their interviews. They're still having their training sessions. In fact, I've actually been invited by one of the members of Flight Attendant Career Connection to a United graduation wing pinning ceremony next week. So I'm going to be in Houston. Well, it's like in 2 weeks. It's in 2 weeks. I'm going to be in Houston in 2 weeks for that. So everything still seems to be going fine with them. He was probably asked to step down, just sort of as like damage control. So it doesn't really have anything to do with the airline or the state of the airline. So keep applying. United is amazing. You see the world. Keep applying. Keep doing your video interview for them. It's about 5 questions. It's a mix of star format and more like, tell me why you like United. What do you want United to know about you, kind of thing. So that's what you can think about as you're preparing. So go United. Also, the people in the group, so y'all that are in the Facebook group, helped me get together a list of things that the question was, what's one thing you wish your passengers would stop doing? So one of the reporters at the Huffington Post that I've worked with before contacted me and said, will you ask your group, all the flight attendants, what's one thing that they wish that their passengers would stop doing? And so we had like this huge list, and it was just all in good fun. I mean, we love our job. Flight attendants, you know, you love your job, but just like any job, you have like a complaint. So that's kind of what it was. And it was just sort of a funny list that they put together, you know, like, don't take forever to pick out your drink, or don't go to the bathroom as soon as you get on the airplane, or don't tug on the back of my dress when you need to get my attention. Just say, excuse me, ma'am. So the list sort of went viral though, and it was ended up all over, actually all over the world. It got picked up by got picked up on the news wire from like Australia, Africa, all over Europe, but here in the US, they talked about it on the Today Show, which is crazy. So Matt Lauer was totally on our side as flight attendants, and he was like, yes, all that stuff is annoying. I agree. So I appreciated that. So that was just kind of exciting to see our little group and like our just like funny little list to kind of make the media. So that was kind of funny. So hopefully our passengers were watching too, and that they know that it's all in good fun, but they know what they want to drink before taking 5 minutes to decide. But you never know. Okay, so that was kind of a fun thing that happened. Also, a few days ago, British Airways had a plane that caught on fire while it was taking off in Las Vegas. So it was here in the US. It's taking off, big old plane, lots of people on it, caught on fire. They rejected the takeoff. Is that right? Did they reject the takeoff?
Yes.
Probably should know this. So they rejected the takeoff. They didn't take off with a flaming airplane. Hallelujah. They rejected the takeoff, and then they evacuated. So it was engine fires, right? Shouldn't I know all this already? So the fires were kind of in the middle of the plane. They opened the slides and evacuated. The crew did amazing. They got everyone out. I think 2 people got hurt, but no one died. No one got really seriously injured. They did everything by the book, and they got their people out, and they took control of the situation. And I just want to say, you know, major props to the British Airways flight attendants. And it's kind of nice, you know, when something like this happens for the public to see what flight attendants really do, that it really is, the plane can catch on fire like that. Now, of course, there's a lot of sort of viral pictures going around that people took their carry-ons, which like one thing, like you grab your purse from underneath the seat in front of you and you run off. Okay. You're not supposed to do it, but whatever. But both your pieces of carry-on, like both your rollerboards, you went down a slide with that. I mean, it's a miracle that it didn't rip the slide open, and that was the last person that got to evacuate, and everyone else just had to jump out and break their legs or stay on a flaming airplane. So tell all your people, all your loved ones, everybody that you talk to, that if they're ever in a flaming plane and you see a picture of them with their carry-on, they will not be on speaking terms with you anymore, because that is a big deal. You know, they could have, first of all, it slows egress, which means it slows down the movement of the people out, because you're stopping to open your overhead. I mean, you've seen people during boarding and deplaning, they like open the overhead and get their bag out. Plus, like I said, it could have busted one of the evacuation slides or damaged it in some way. You're even supposed to take your high-heeled shoes off. So thankfully that didn't happen, but still, that's kind of annoying that people, you know, the flight attendant is yelling, leave everything, for a reason. So that's my little rant for now. Sort of on that note though, I did want to take a minute. So like I said before, today is the 10th of September. Tomorrow is the 11th of September. September 11th, 2001, of course, is when our nation, America, changed. Aviation industry changed. A lot of us changed. And It is a day that we now remember, first of all, the sacrifice. We remember the beginning of a war. We remember the fact that we realized we weren't safe on our American soil all the time anymore. It really, really changed our world, and it changed aviation. TSA came about. They increased the number of federal air marshals. You know, security is very different now. There's a lot of things that are very, very different. Our jobs as flight attendants changed too. We were always there for safety, but the threat was different. The threat was elevated. You know, we were always there for safety. A crash was always a possibility. Even a hijacking was always a possibility. But mass murder wasn't really a possibility until September 11th. So our jobs changed very much. We go through training as far as self-defense. We go through training for identifying weapons, and there's a lot of different things that were added to flight attendant training. And so I just wanted to talk about it because it's good for us to remember. It's good for us to be respectful too. You know, I think it's like over 3,000. I should know the number. I'm embarrassed that I don't, but thousands of people lost their lives that day. You know, and out of the thousands and thousands of people that lost their lives that day, the first person who was killed, murdered, on September 11th, 2001 was the flight attendant that was working in the forward galley. And she'll always be the one that, you know, went first. And the plane that went down in Pennsylvania, the passengers and the flight attendants, they fought back. And who knows how many lives they saved. They're heroes. I consider them all heroes. And first responders, I consider them first responders to the flight attendants. And so I just wanted to take a minute. I think that it's good. I don't know when you're watching this, but I still think that we should take a couple seconds just to silence, just to be respectful and just to remember them, because this is the time that that we just need to remember the sacrifice and the change. So I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes, and I'd like for you to just reflect and say a prayer with me. Okay, thank you. All right, so let's move on now to what we're going to talk about as far as, I guess, the content. That was current events, and now a little bit of sort of tips and things like that. It's hard for me to follow that and get like pepped back up again, but you know, it's a tough time. It's tough. It's sad. It's scary. It's a scary world out there. But you know, without the flight attendants, who knows how it would have been different. You know, the British Airways flight would have been different. There's so many things that would be different. So I wrote in the newsletter actually that, you know, if you choose to be a flight attendant, I don't care what anyone says, that's a noble profession. You are there to comfort people. You're there to hold their hand. You're with people going to funerals. You're with people going to celebrations, and you're there with people when their lives are in danger, and you're sometimes the one that is saving their life. So it really is a noble profession. It's not about Coke and peanuts. So I honor you if this is something that you've chosen to pursue. I think that it takes strong character to even want to do something like this. So let's get to talking about how you can get that job, right? Okay, all right. Okay, so a question that I've seen a ton in the Facebook group is, what should I take to training? First of all, take whatever they tell you to take. You'll get a list. You'll get a training packet thing. It should have information on city codes that you have to learn, and maybe you have to memorize an announcement. Maybe you don't, but if you do, then it'll be in there. What to bring will be in there. Some airlines want you to go ahead and buy your uniform shoes before you go, so they'll tell you what the uniform standard is. Some airlines want you to buy the uniform shoe while you're in training, so there's not as much information. So some have dress codes where you have to wear red and white collared shirts every day. Some have just sort of a business casual or a business attire dress code. So whatever the dress code is that they have, that's what you should take. Whatever they put on the list, that's what you should take. But here's some other things that I think you should take. First of all, I'm a Christian, so my Bible goes on my list. I forgot it at my first training, and my mom shipped it to me. So if you have something that is, you know, comforting to you, like a Bible or like a book of like poems, or just something that like is kind of comforting to you, I would encourage you to take that. Another thing that you need to take, or you should take, is pictures, like family pictures. We have stuff on our phones, but it's nice to kind of stick to your mirror in your hotel room too. It's just pictures of fun times or loved ones or something like that. Another thing is a journal. I so wish that I had done this and I didn't. I wish I had taken a journal and just jotted down a sentence or two every day or every couple days about what happened, what you learned, funny things that happened, where you went, the city that you were exploring, your new training city, and things like that. I wish I had done that. So please do that. Just take a journal, 3 words, 2 sentences, whatever it is. Or if you're a writer and you want to just dump into your journal and just write, then you have that too. And I just think it would be a really good keepsake. Also, I want you to take, or I think you should take, I don't care what you take, but I think you should take like an extension cord and or a power strip, because depending on the hotel that they put you in or where they put you, like older hotels don't have as many charging stations. Now we've got our computer, our iPad, our phone, so you and your roommate have all that stuff to charge. So a power strip will make life a lot easier, because you'll be able to charge more things more easily and be able to get to it better too, because then it's up high, like on the counter, instead of down on the wall. So a power strip. Make sure you take your phone charger, and then also I'd recommend getting one of those battery power sticks, just because we use our phones for so many things. Now, you're not going to be on your phone a ton during training, but I think that it's just good to have with you, just in case, for downtime and stuff. I would also pack some snacks and or food for a few days. So if you're if you get separated from your luggage, you want to have some food in your carry-on. Or if your flight got delayed, like when I was one of my trainings, when I went to training, my roommate got delayed and she didn't get in until like 3 in the morning. So even though she had planned to get in to Dayton, Ohio earlier in the day before training started, and go to Walmart, ride the shuttle, get some food, she didn't get in until like 2. And then we started training. So we didn't have free time for a few days. And if that were to happen to you, we're talking like granola bars and things like that are just like easy food, because most likely you'll have access to food. You're not going to starve to death, because a lot of training provides food, but just having some things with you just in case is smart. Also, I would say essential oils. So this is new. This is kind of like the new fad. Of course, essential oils are not new at all, but it's kind of a new fad. There's a couple multi-level marketing things that do it. So I wasn't familiar with this when I went to training. But so this is my peppermint essential oil, and it's peppermint. I get mine from a company called Lost River Naturals, and it's a lady I know that's gone to school. I don't even know like what the degree is, but it's not a multi-level marketing thing. She owns her own company and she mixes all of her own things, and I think she's an herbalist. Would that be what it was called? But I'll put the link in the show notes for this webinar. But I like this peppermint one. I have a couple different ones, but I like the peppermint one because it is energizing, and that's one of the things it's good for. It's good for like giving you a perk. So sometimes, like when I'm working and I'll smell it, and so it's a way to sort of like wake you up, because there's a ton of training and a ton of studying you have to do at training. And so this can help like clear the cobwebs. It's also good for headaches and any kind of like muscle soreness if you rub it into like your shoulders and things like that. So if you're interested or into that kind of stuff, or looking for a pick-me-up, it's a non-medicine, it's not medicine, so it's a way to sort of give yourself a pick-up. And it actually smells like candy canes. So it just sort of like, woo. All right, so that, and then also take a budget. So think about your money beforehand, kind of give yourself a rough budget about what bills need to be paid, so that you sort of know how much money you have to spend, how much you can go out, and things like that. I just think that's smart. So those are my tips for what to take to training. Also, we've had a lot of people that have been getting video interviews. So more and more and more airlines, it's not just the majors anymore. Now, Mesa does a video interview. I think Allegiant does a video interview. But more and more and more airlines are doing these video interviews. So, of course, tips for the video interview are important, because that is sort of the gateway in between your resume, getting your foot in the door, and then you actually getting the face-to-face where you can really sell yourself. First of all, the video interview is always awkward. Most of the time, it's just you recording your answers. So that's weird. There's not a person on the other line like responding to you or like giving you like, yeah, or anything. So you're having to communicate by just looking at yourself on the computer, which for a lot of people is just awkward. So first of all, put that in your mind and say, everybody feels this weird when they do it. It's not just you. So that should be a little bit of an encouragement. Second of all, okay, so you need to make sure that you wear an interview outfit, at least from the waist up. Well, now I think Mesa makes you stand, so no pajama bottoms if you're Mesa. If it's not, if it's just from the waist up, pajama bottoms, totally fine. But as far as the top goes, you want to wear a blouse and or a shirt in a color that complements your skin tone. And it doesn't have to be white and it doesn't have to have a collar, but it needs to complement your skin tone. And you want to wear a suit jacket or sports coat or a blazer, whatever you call it. Women, you want to wear makeup. Make sure that you wear enough makeup. You know, this is being on video. So it's kind of like when you're in the school play and they put more makeup on you because it doesn't always translate because you're not in person. So make sure you have on enough makeup. Wear your hair styled, you know, pulled back in a ponytail, just like I have it, is totally fine. You don't have to worry about how the back looks because no one's going to see it. If your hair is shorter than your shoulders, down is totally fine. If it's longer than your shoulders and you want to wear it down, it's up to you. That's fine. Plenty of people get hired with their hair down. I think more people get hired with their hair back, but however you feel more comfortable. It's not a silver bullet, but you do want to make sure that your hair is styled and it's not crazy and it doesn't have a lot of movement. So you want to kind of keep it behind your shoulders and don't touch it. And then, like I said, and wear makeup. As far as your jewelry goes, you could wear a small necklace or a scarf, earrings smaller than a quarter, and for the video interview, it's not that big of a deal. Try to wear a watch. Don't wear a bracelet. One ring per each hand. Probably just a wedding ring if you want to. Otherwise, just take the other ones off and set them on the desk. It's not a big deal because we're doing a video interview. And if you don't have a watch, that's not a big deal either. But I would recommend wearing a watch to the face-to-face because it is a required duty item once you become a flight attendant. So you might as well just go ahead and like get there. Again, it's not a silver bullet. It's not like if you wear the watch, you get the job, and if you don't wear the watch, you don't. There's a lot more that plays into it, but I just like to stack the deck in our favor, so might as well wear a watch. It's not a big deal. Video tips. I got off on a watch. You also want to make sure your background is acceptable. So clean is not, it doesn't have to be blank. Like this background is fine. I have my fireplace. There's actually a picture of an airplane, Brantiff, back there behind my head. So nothing offensive, nothing super distracting. It's just my house. I wouldn't want like naked Madonna, naked Lady Gaga back there. No pictures of like people smoking weed back there. You know, like you want to just notice what's behind you. You also don't want to sit in front of a window if the sun is going to like light you up like an angelic halo because it's hard to see you. You want the light to be shining on your face, not shining behind your head. And then usually the video interviews are like 5 to 6 questions, and just be ready to talk about why you know you're going to be a good flight attendant. Tell me about times that you've given great customer service and you've worked as a member of a team, and research the company that you're getting ready to do the video interview with so you can tell them why you're so excited to have this opportunity with them. And those are the kinds of things that you're going to want to do to get ready for your video interview. For more tips, you can watch, there's a YouTube video that I made on the YouTube channel that is all video interview tips, and it's longer and it has all the tips and what to wear even in more depth, a lot more information. So check that out. Also, I wanted to let you know that I do offer, one of the things that I offer at Flight Attendant Career Connection is a 30-minute, it's a strategy session. So we have 1-hour coaching sessions and a 30-minute strategy session. The 30-minute strategy session costs $45. It can be purchased once, and you can use it sort of for whatever your needs are. If you want to talk about your goals because you're right at the beginning, or you have a ton of questions about how this even works, that's what the strategy session's for. But if you've already kind of moved on a little bit and you've got a video interview coming up, most people use it before they go to the video interview, because the video interview we know is going to be about 15 minutes and it's going to be about 5 questions. So a 30-minute strategy / coaching session can sort of get some of those kinks out and get you kind of moving in the right direction. And then once you pass the video interview, then you could book an hour coaching session. So an hour, now the 30-minute session, of course, is 30 minutes, so it's a lot shorter, but some people that just works better in their budget. So if you have a video interview coming up, I just wanted to make sure that you know, or a face-to-face, or wherever you are in the process, that 30-minute session is a time that we can talk about your skills, your background, how that's going to be awesome as a flight attendant, and really how you can package and present yourself. So if you would like to take advantage of that opportunity, you can either private message me on Facebook. I do check my other folder every day. So if we're not friends, it would go to the other folder. That's fine. You can send me an email, FA Career Connection. So the letter F, the letter A, careerconnection@gmail.com, or you could post in the group and tag me, and I will see it and message you back. So that, I just wanted to make sure that you knew about that as you get ready to take your video interview, because it will make you feel better that you knew what you should highlight and things like that. Okay, so that is the end of the things that I have to share today. So now I'm going to ask my sidekick over here if he has any questions. If you're watching live right now on the Google Hangout and you have questions, you can either type them in the Facebook group or you can type them in the chat on the Google Hangout. And my husband, Jason Unger, is the one, if you need to tag him, if you have a question that's monitoring for the questions. So I'm going to ask him questions, assistant. He's a good assistant.
How does the military have an advantage or disadvantage in the process?
Okay, so I'll repeat it. How does military experience, does military experience offer you an advantage or a disadvantage in the flight attendant process? First of all, I want to say no matter what your background is, that there are skills in your job that translate to becoming a flight attendant. Now, of course, the military, the discipline that it takes to be in the military is huge. So that right there, just in general, means that you can do pretty much anything that you want to do because of the level of discipline that it takes. Also, okay, so as far as being in the military, of course, being in the military, there's a million different jobs in the military. So depending on what you did in the military, you're going to have a different skill set because you learned a different job. But just kind of across the board, one thing is manuals and policies and procedures. So you know how to use a checklist. You know that there's a procedure to do everything, and you just follow it, and you don't cut corners, and you don't ask a ton of questions. You just do what you're told. So that right there is very helpful as far as becoming a flight attendant. But I guess he was asking about the process. So as far as the process goes, one thing that you're going to have to overcome is probably communicating in a way that is very personable. So there's not a lot of personality and bubbly personality encouraged in the military. When you're in basic training, they're not like, so, let's talk and let's be bubbly and communicate and really connect with each other. You're taught to very much stand in line and be very uniform. So that can translate in a really good way, because when you go to this interview, you're standing up straight. You sit in a way that is respectful. You don't walk and chew gum. You don't walk and spit on the sidewalk. You don't walk and smoke. You don't walk and talk on your cell phone. There's a lot of things that probably are naturally ingrained in you that, just as far as your appearance goes, is going to translate and definitely work in your favor, because you just naturally are going to be very presentable with your shoulders back and your head held high and look very confident. Now, as far as your personality goes, you're going to have to shake off some of that and, come back to the very customer service driven civilian world of aviation as far as flight attendants go. And you're really going to want to be connecting with people, and you might want to pump your personality up a little bit so that you can be a little bit more engaging, maybe using your hands, leaning forward when someone talks to you so that you can come across a little bit more engaging. Also, you're going to have to be careful about the way you communicate what your skills are. So I know in the military they use sometimes fancier terms. Let's say you were like the dishwasher, you would be like the commissary and mess hall sanitation director or something, when really you'd like wash dishes. So you wouldn't want to say, well, I was in charge of commissary sanitation. You would say, you know, one of the things that I did was me and my team, we would get together and make sure that the dishes were washed, that the sanitation process was followed, and that everything was put away in the right place so that the next day when the next team came in to prepare the meals, everything was ready for them and everything went well and everything rolled together. So instead, I talked about teamwork skills and things like that, and I really broke down, as opposed to using the term and maybe even what the responsibilities were, and made it a little bit more personable and added some more people into it. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that answers your question. Thank you for serving, by the way. I mean, I do think that it is an asset to have been in the military. Yes. Oh, that's our only question. So that's our only question today. And we're right at about 30 minutes, so that's perfect. And remember, the Flight Attendant Career Connection free webinar is every second Thursday of the month at 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I live in South Carolina, so I use the Eastern Standard Time, so I guess that's 6:00 Pacific, and you can do the rest of the math. Again, please join our Facebook group, Flight Attendant Career Connection, if you're not in it already. And if you have a question you'd like me to answer, you can always send me a private message, always send me an email. And I would love to connect with you and help you earn those wings. So I will see you in the Facebook group, and I'll talk to you next month. Bye.